it was, but by this time they were operating in their full calling. Daniel was one of the highest ranking in Babylon. The three Hebrew boys, they were governors, they were rulers, they were wise men, and they were still faithful to God. Because they said yes in the beginning, they were able to endure in the future. We see them faithful to God, and because they are faithful to God, it garnered some attention that was not wanted from everybody else. When you say yes to God, when you say yes to the assignment, it will begin to produce this magnetism for favor in open doors. It will begin to build you up in ways that you had no idea. But let me give you a moment of sobriety. In this building up, it was not absent of warfare and tumultuosity and setbacks. Even though they said yes, there was an attack on their yes. And because they would not bow to a golden image, they now had to go to a hot place, which was the furnace. They had made a decree. Anybody who doesn't bow to Nebuchadnezzar, this golden statue, when they hear the music, they're going to be thrown in this furnace. And these three Hebrew boys, they refused to bow to this idol. The worship music came on, the whole nation bowed, but they refused to bow. The song came on. The idol was right there. Everybody bowed, but they didn't bow. I want to ask you this question. What is after your worship? What is after your worship? What idol in your life is trying to get you to bow? What is trying to get you to abandon your yes and causing you to bow? Just because the masses are bowing, don't mean you should bow. We're coming to a place in our day, in our era, where the world, even yes, some of the churches are bowing to things that God never intended for us to bow. What you bow to, has power over you. Oh, you want to compromise because it's an opportunity. You are now a slave to that compromise. Oh, you don't want to be offensive, so you're going to embrace this, that, and the other. You have just given your power over to a lesser object. What you bow to now has authority over you. They refused to bow, but because they said yes in the high place, they weren't afraid of the furnace. It says that Nebuchadnezzar was angry. He was so angry, he says, turn that fire up 10 times. They turned the fire up 10 times. The man who turned the fire up got consumed, and they brought these three Hebrew boys to the fire. And this fire was a point of intimidation. And they said, no, I'm not going to be intimidated just because the furnace is 10 times hotter. He says, if God doesn't do it, we know that he is well able. Does anybody have, I know that he is well able. I know the fire is hot. I know things ain't going right. I know the marriage is up and down. I know the kids acting like they lost their minds. But if he doesn't do it, I know. A lot of us read this text and we act like there was no emotion in it. Sometimes when God puts things before you, I ain't going to say you ain't going to be afraid, but that don't mean you can't do it. There are things that I've done. I was grossly afraid, but I've chose his word over my emotions. They looked at the fire. They looked at one another. They said, if he doesn't do it, we still know he's able. But there was something that built this resolve in them. Remember, they're not double-minded. They have a stable of mind. They are secure in their thoughts. They are faithful to their God. Why were they able to stand before a fire? Because they stood before a God in the palace. If you can stand for God in here, it will prepare you for the fiery trials that come your way. It says, what does it say? Threw them in the fire, bound, tied up. Can you believe this? They were safer in the fire than they were in the palace. It didn't make sense. But they were safer in the midst of a fire than they were in the place of comfort. Now that they are in the fire, there are several things that are happening. They're in a place that should destroy them, and they're being observed literally by the entire nation. The thing that should have killed them, burned them alive, they are now walking in it. They are walking in what should have consumed them. They are living in a place that killed everybody else. That yes, that they gave in the palace made them, they gave them the ability to endure a fire. Let me tell you this now. Say yes now before the fire comes. Say yes now before the attacks come. Say yes now before the trouble comes, because your yes now will prepare you for the fire in the future. Whew, I'm almost done. I'm almost done. They get in the fire, and the nation is looking at them. They're like, wait a minute. Why are they walking in something that should have destroyed them? Let this be a word for somebody in this place. Hell meant to destroy you. The kings of this world is out to kill you, but God made you tough. He made you to say yes to him so that you can endure every heartache, every attack, everything that comes to discredit you. He'll call you to walk in it. Somebody say, I'm ready to walk in it. It's happening. They're in the fiery furnace now. And they're walking through because they said, I'm not going to bow. This is a narrative in their lives where they won't compromise. This is a narrative. They said, I'm not going to compromise even though I'm a slave boy, just got taken away from my home country, and though I'm in a palace and I need to do what everybody else is doing, but I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to compromise though I don't understand. I should eat the meat, but I'm not going to eat the meat. I need to fit in. Oh, but I can't fit in. Because they said yes in the beginning, they can say yes in the fire. If you can't say yes before the fire, you're gonna bow in the fire. He's made you for the fire. Your yes is not for times of peace. Your yes is not for the prominence. Your yes is for the fire. I love how God will call you to reign even in the furnace. He will call you to outdo even in a hot place. The nation, the pagan nation, Tasha, sees these three men walking in a furnace that's 10 times hotter. How much is 10 times hotter? Hot. Literally burned the ropes off their hands. And how did he throw them in the furnace? He threw them in their regalia. They had their turbans, they had their robes, and nothing on them was burnt. Nothing on them was burnt. I want to let you know, because you said yes to God, everything connected to you is now fireproof. Everything that's on you is now fireproof. They wanted to burn, they wanted to die, but because you said yes, it's made them fireproof. That's not it. That's not it. Somebody say, that's not it. Come on, somebody say, that's not it. They said yes to God when they didn't see him. They said yes to Yeshua when they were slaves. They said yes to him while they were in a palace. And they said yes to him when they had no visible knowledge of him. Now that they are in a fire, their yes, however long ago it was, is now producing something they can see. They're walking in the fire and they had never seen God before. But because they said yes, not only will they see him, but a pagan nation will see them. They said, right where he needed to be, because he knew that God had them while they were at the furnace, while he was up in the window praying. He may not have been in the picture, he may not have been on the scene, they may not have written his name at the fiery furnace, but they built long enough, they built close enough, they built together in such a way that he didn't have to be there in order for them to reign. When you build with the squad, you don't always have to live with the squad. When you build with, let me tell you this, you are coming to a season where you can no longer have incompetent people around you. You need people that know how, that know when, that are skilled, so that when they disappear, they've already imparted into your life, and you can still reign even though that they're not around. The fiery furnace. But no Daniel. A lot of us get comfortable with having that person around. A lot of us, we find security just because the pastor is around. A lot of us, we get great joy because we're shoulder to shoulder. We got each other's back. Oh, we love the way this feels. This feels so good. I got my protection and I got my deliverance. I got my strength and I got my intercession. And we love it. And we think this is how it's supposed to be. We think this is where it's going to always be. But there's a time where God will call you away from those who have taught you and prepared you so that you can learn to stand on your own 2 feet. Daniel did not have to go to the furnace because Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego had everything they had need of. And now we get out of the hot place and we get to the dangerous place. You might say, it wasn't the hot place a dangerous place? No, it wasn't too dangerous because God was in that furnace with them. But we get to a Daniel in the 6th chapter because Daniel he refused. Somebody say refused. To compromise. He refused to bow and to dance. They tried to do the same thing they did to the 3 Hebrew boys, and they tried it to Daniel. Isn't it something that people know that you're so faithful to your God that that's the only way that they can trip you up? Isn't it something, let me clarify, that the enemy knows if I'm going to catch him, I ain't going to catch him in the alley on crack. I ain't going to catch him in sister so-and-so bed. I ain't going to catch her stealing nobody money. But if I need to catch her, I need to catch her.